Good evening, council members. We will start with the National Anthem. So we're hoping our don't have any problem playing it. And now the council's reflection. Us, as elected officials, we are committing to look on our community favorably and inspiringly. We're also taking the responsibility to always have a right judgment and at any time during our discussion, all our actions be efficient, oriented towards the wellness uh, and well-being of the citizens of this town. Good evening, everyone. Eh, Yes, it's great to see you. So we had the public audience at 6 o'clock, and then we had a quick break. And before we start, I would like to know we are gathering on the traditional unceded territory of the Wolastoq and Mi'kmaq people. Mr. Clerk, we do have quorum for this evening. Everyone is here. Are there any council members who would like to declare any conflict of interest on items on the agenda? Councillor Emile, no? No, okay. So, adoption of the agenda. You have the agenda in front of you. So, I would need a motion for the adoption of the agenda, or is it what you wanted to talk? Okay, perfect. You're just too quick. Perfect. So, moved by Councillor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. All those in favor signify by saying aye, against nay, carried. Next item, 5.1, minutes of the regular meeting of September 12th, and then the special meeting of September 21st. So are there any questions, errors, omissions, or anything to report? Councillor O'Brien, was it the one? No? I just wanted to ask the council if we could maybe have a minute of silence for Mrs. Andrea O'Brien. She passed away. She was the admin assistant for the town in the 70s until the 80s. She was here for several years, and her funeral was today. So maybe if we could have a minute of silence. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the council members. So with our 2 minutes, like the one for September 12th and the one for September 21st, I would need a motion to adopt them. Moved by Jean-Claude Bertin, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor saying aye, against nay. Motion carried. Next item, 6. We have no public presentation this evening. Reading of correspondence. Mr. Clerk. So the one is from Wendy LeBlanc. It's a it's a donation, $1,000 donation for the Trinity United Church. A letter from Daniel Dupuis is the chair for the Greater Chediac Chamber of Commerce. So it's a letter of thanks for the contribution for the annual golf tournament. It was held recently. So the next one is the president of the Golden Age Club. So they were asking if we could have signs for children at play on Sackville Street because the Golden Age they're renting. Yeah, so that's usually it's to have it like with this type of activities. We do not. I don't think we would need a motion from the council, but so like on Casey Street, you have special signs like with children at play. Perfect. Councillor Jean, yes, I move that the administration goes forward to install like the required signs in the area because there is a daycare moved by Councillor Janice Boudreau. Cormier, seconded by Emile Warren. Questions on the motion? If not, all in this favor signify by saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you. And I wouldn't. I didn't think like a sign would need a motion, but the last one, the last correspondence is from the Foundation Boucher Bichot. It's the sponsorship request for the annual banquet that will be held on November 19th. I know we attend like the before the pandemic, we assisted to the banquet, and I think we were given like an amount, so because it was part for the bursary, and I think every year like we give an amount to this. So the banquet is will be on November 19th. So we could maybe just do a quick check. So there is an amount like for activities. There's a grant like dedicated to this event. So we just need like to give it as it was forecasted. For something that's part of the budget, I don't think we need a motion. It's not new, right? Perfect. Councillor Paul, I see they're always asking for some products for a silent auction. So we could provide some material there. Would we have something like a specific? Anything that would be worth of a value for a silent auction. So the next item, reports from standing and special committees. So we have the financial report. So we need like the motion for to discuss it. So I would need like someone to move that the financial report be presented, be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Gallant, seconded by Councillor O'Brien. All those in favor saying aye. Against the motion carried. So, do anyone have some questions of on the report? Councillor Paul, yes, only one. I don't know which. I'm not sure like which page, like on the intranet. Frontage fees. It was zero in the budget, and down this 87,000 revenue. So, is there a reason? Is it something new we have? It's a property in Ohio that was sold. So they had to pay like a frontage fee because we extended like for water and sewer systems like maybe farther off Ohio. So we had like to recover like the cost once the land would be sold. So we had two bylaws. So there's one also for Bow Bridge because we extended like the water system. So and then we needed to charge frontage fee. So just to clarify, like for the sign, before we always already have one on the on Sackville Street and one that, so I was confident to have three signs without having a motion. Like usually we do not have like a motion from the council like just to set up a sign. It's just a specific situation. So I was looking at the trees falling down. So thanks for the frontage. Thank you. That's it. Any other questions on the financial report? If not, thank you very much. We already voted on the motion. Protection services. So we have no service for police from policing services. So it's every 3 months. And for the fire department, I have the fire chief here. So he was busy like over the last couple of days. Very busy. And I had a question for the fire chair, and that was more out of curiosity. So I was looking at the numbers for 2022 versus 2021, like a flooded basement, 10 this year, and there was one in August last year. Is it an event that happened in August, like where you had like a flooded basement? Okay, so when they have, yeah, when there's one flood, I'll put it on the same. So it could be a flood like on the roads too, not necessarily people's basement. Councillor Paul. Yes, Donald could. Yeah, if you could come up front. Just a question, like congratulations, thank for this weekend. Like I saw like the bulk of your tasks, like most of your tasks, it was mostly rescue. Do you have the equipment? Do you need some more equipment? Because saw some photos like wetsuits and stuff like that. So would it be possible maybe to approach a council to see like what you would need? It's not only like to for stop fires. Like I think we're the same as the other one because one like one wetsuit. Moncton has one and Dieppe. So we cannot have like 25 boats like in Shediac. So each of the municipalities they have one. There's no department with two or three boats. So something I've never seen yet in the area. I was more referring to remember. Do they have the right equipment? Yes. The wetsuit. Well, we have like about 15, 20 of those wetsuits. So we bought a few. We bought some like a couple of years ago. So I think most of the equipment for rescue, like we have it. Thanks, Danal. Thank you, Danal. And I would like also to mention the dedication for your members. You're coming in times of distress. The temperature was not great, and we saw like several pictures, and we're saying, wow, you're doing the best you can, like to go where you need to be. But if you have to go like to water up to your hips, like you have the equipment to do so. So at least, and it was a situation that was not usual. And with Public Works, we're all working together. So I think everything went well. How many rescue did you do? I lost count of them. I'm doing. I'm like 30 reports behind, so I'll told it. I'll tell you how many like later. Councillor Emile, yes, thank you. It's not a question for Denali. So where are we with the projects for the new fire department? I think the last news it was we approached like the Protection Services Committee. Could we have like a report? Was something done? Any steps were taken? And so yes, we send you like the recommendation. I think it was back in June. So we'll be able to discuss like maybe just to refresh our memory. Perfect, thank you. I think it was May or June. I think it was June, somewhere in June. So before maybe next week's meeting. So report on building permits. So we see like 8.3. So we see comparison between August of last year and August this year. I think it's 769 to 756. So close. We're close to 51, a little bit above 51 millions, and we had 55 millions, 800,000. So there's still a couple of months to go. So we should be in the same numbers, even over. And we're expecting and some developments like ask for request for permits. So the construction is not stopping in Chidiac. Perfect. Questions on the report, Mr. Director? So the numbers are saying it all. So if you allow me, like council members, just to give you an idea, it would bring it like to 52.6 million as of today. Because I had some permits coming, I'm comfortable. Like I feel confident we will go above of what we had last year. And also, we have 40 new houses that were built this year in the municipality. So the permits came out. We have over 7 units of town houses like that they were in construction. Like the beginning of the year, we have about a dozen of duplex, just our residential units. And as you know, like you saw apartment buildings, and so so it should be another good year. And we're hoping the trend will continue. Councillor Lepot. So they did the announcement for the Villa Providence. So will it go forward in 2022? Certainly. Like we met with the team of Public Works, and we also met with the developer, and we met them on site. So they want to start working on the site. So they're still waiting like for the plans to be finalized, like before they can submit a permit request. So they want to prepare like the ground, and they would like by November, as if possible, to have like the foundation, if the plans came out. If not, it would probably be like at the beginning or spring, like of next year. Thank you. Thanks, Denis. So, next item, report from the town managers. Yes, Mr. Mayor, quickly, just 2 items. And of course, we'll talk about Fiona. And I will give you also like the bargaining of the collective agreement. So the members should vote on the proposal this week. So next week, during the plenary, I will send it by the end of the week, like the details of all the changes before we get to the final product. So by the time like the members vote, so for any changes, we're talking about a 3% increase per year over a 4-year period. So there will be some adjustment to be done. So, and we will have the discussion next week. We would like to bring it like so that the council can see it on the 17th. And Fiona will send you a report. We had several meetings since Friday. And we had one on emergency measures, like Lake Donal and Lynn. They were part of the meeting, so we had meetings with Denis. And we knew Denis was busy. And of course, like we know, like we had quite a few meetings, and I can assure you that the team was exceptional. And it was a rough day Saturday and again Sunday. We had challenges, but I think they were able to do their work. Now it's time to clean up. That's where like the bulk of the work. So with Dorian, it took like a month before we were able like to clean everything, and it was quite laborious. It was a lot of work. And I think it will be the same this year. So we're asking people to put like their stuff on the curbside, because we cannot go on private property. So if they have it, we should have like maybe a newsletter or something on social media of the town. So early tomorrow morning, so we have something ready to go. Just a press release. So if you cut like trees and it's a maximum of 4 feet, we can put the citizens have to put them like at the curbside. If the trees for the town just fell off private property, so we're asking them like it, it's not the responsibility of the citizen, but the good news, like the province announced financial support. So we should get the details so people like I know it refunds a lot of fees that are not reimbursed by the insurance company. So if your insurance company says like it's not part of your protection or coverage with your insurance, the province should get on board. And sometime outside just to collect leave, just take the document, take some photos before and after, and even like your personal time like can be reimbursed by the province. If you put 20 hours to clean up your property, well, that could be no, they'll charge you $150 an hour, but there is some help on the way. We should get the details in the next couple of weeks. So we're putting everything in place. So if you have any questions, like, so we should be able to answer them. And there's a lot of seaweed, like it's an industrial amount, like a lot of it, like, so it goes like in green bags. So that's what our employees will do over the next couple of weeks. And in my report, we will start also with roads, like then will be sidewalks, really cleaning, and then the trails, and then this all the other infrastructures like parks, easements, and other like town property would be at the end. So it be roads, sidewalks, and trails. Questions? I know. I I think Luke is very aware. We attended all the meetings with the council. It's just a question on seaweed that is on private property. They just need like to put they just need to put them like at the curbside in green bags. So is there a timeline? So we'll give people time like just because they're just recovering from the storm. So we will pick up on a regular basis. So then just put it at the curbside and it should be like it should be pick up. It wouldn't be 6 months like. Councillor CB, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this week it's a big garbage. So so it will be done as expected because I see a lot of people put it at the on the curbside. So it's a lot of things. So from next week, like it's not everybody we had time like to put everything at the curbside. So but thank you very much. So with the guys from Fiona, so I was able to visit like as everyone like the one who could. But so there's a lot of damage from trees, and some trees are bigger than others. So it will take a time. It will take some time like to clean up. I think I did about a dozen of interviews, like one at the radio, one on TV, and for the newspaper. So to give an idea, like the center was available for the citizens. They were darts tournament at the same time, so the center, so the multi-purpose center was full capacity, even if there was no power. But at least we had it was something like people could go there and just change their mind, like just there were not a whole lot of people like that took advantage. These were not like a lot of people, but we had some, and they appreciated it like really well. At least it was great, like to have this installation, like for the citizens, like a darts tournament. Well, we had people, so it was kind of interesting. Councillor Paul, so just a question for you. Yesterday on the bike trail, so the debris of everything that was damaged. So we have like the biker trail also. It looked as if we had a proper intent. So we had everything like floating decks and a lot of stuff. Like, who has the responsibility? So they dump everything. Like it was great it was so nice before, but not anymore. Like, who has the responsibility? Is it the Department of Environment? Because we have some decks like a 50 75 feet long, like that are on that bicycle trail. Like those for birds, like the barge, like, it's all like in the biking trail. It's all in the middle of the marsh because it's close like to the little walking bridge. Yeah, by the point there. So eventually, who will be cleaning this? Is it the Department of Environment? Can you get some information, Jane? Because the department, it will be the Watershed Association who will be responsible. Maybe they can recover it, or. But it's plastic pieces of plastic tubes, incredible. Like it looks like a not like Porto Basque, but I'm wondering who has the responsibility because if it stays there, like it will be there, like as the floating decks, like they've been there for 12 years. So we will assess, and so if we have any more cleanup to do, well, we'll come with the information. No, I don't think the environment Department of Environment does it. Even the stairs, like they seem new, like someone is running there. We could sell them. I would like to conclude by thanking the members of the team, Scott, Danal, for everyone, like for your great work. It went well, as I mentioned in the news. Compared to our neighbors in PI and Cape Breton, well, and you found out like we were very fortunate in our bad luck. And they had the worst of the storm, so that's what happened. It's maybe another time like will be worse than them, but we're hoping like it's not something that will come up too soon. So we lost Melissa, but she was responsible for the region. I think we did 4 or 5 conference calls for the EMO, so it's always fortunate like to lose employees, but she was key like with the province, and she was organizing the meetings too. So we had a good collaboration with the emergency measures. 10 recommendations from the Service Commission Southeast, and we have none for this evening. Unfinished business, well, 11.1, Noël Léger, a land acquisition request on Avard Lane. So I sent you a report, so we checked with the team, and we had a recommendation for the municipal operation, so there's no public services on this. It's possible, like in the future, like for our system. So we're discussing with Luc and his team and Scott, so we will keep this piece of land for future project. So we're trying to get as many infrastructure. So this would be the infrastructure. So there's no existing service on McNeil Street like that is connected to Avar Street. So there's a stop off Avar Street for the water main for in the future to connect the McNeil. So Scott was saying it's common sense. We do not like to have dead end with the water system. So right now McNeil is a dead end street, but in the future, it was the plan like that it would be connected to Avar Street to loop it. So really, we have no infrastructure, so we have a reason to keep it in place. It will be used afterwards. Thank you. So we need a vote or motion to keep the line. Councillor Janis, I move that we go with the recommendation to keep the line, the parcel on Avard Lane. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Émile O'Brien, to keep like the PID 00973552. All those in favor saying aye, against nay. Motion carried. 11.2, like update on legal opinion regarding Edward Wharf land title. So we asked at the last meeting to see where we were at, like with our legal advisors. I send you like the report, and it's part of last Friday's report. I don't know if council members had some questions on this report. It was legal advice. Councillor Patricia. I kind of read like the report or the summary of Mr. Daigle. So nobody's own that piece of land legally anyway. So yes, it should be the lawyer, like the solicitor answering. So the solicit. So the next meeting, could you contact Solicitor Daigle before? Yes, we certainly can. Like he's qualified to explain this. So what was I had had a few questions. So maybe we should invite Solicitor Daigle at the next meeting. At least like we were waiting for his report, but we received it. So yes, 11.3, like the council chambers, Ivan's audiovisual quote. I think Denise sent an email like with just a couple of minutes ago with some numbers. So maybe we could refer to it. Denis, Jail, or the two of you. I trust Denis on this one. So we're at a time, like important time, because we need some equipment and we want to be something if we want to be in place like for the amalgamation because some equipments are difficult to get. So we've been discussing this file for a few times. So I send you to an email. We have option one and option two. So there's not a big difference of the two. The only difference, option one, these are individual screen for each council members, and the two would be like three TVs, like one two on the sides and one at the front, so people can see. So what are we proposing to is to change like all the microphone and audio. We cannot add like four extra micros. Like our equipment is obsolete. It does not exist anymore. So we need to replace all the mics you have in front of you in the audio. As for the video system, so it's the system you have in front of you, like the screens and also the screen. We discuss also like remote interpretation. So we have some money. We have also some camera. We have a podium, manpower. So it's they're basically the same thing. So the two of them could be cost around 69,000 and a couple of $100 after. So we can only discuss. It's time to go forward. If not, we will be. Will not be ready. Like we need the new technology, so we wanted like these are big amounts, but it's a long-term investment, and if ever we move, we can bring it with us. It's not something that's fixed. Like we can bring them with us wherever we go. So the difference between option one and two, as for money wise, we're talking about $200. It's not a lot. What is the difference between the two? Like the only difference is 14 screens or 13 or 3 like so the screens so a lot of screens and the other one not a lot. I think we'll be saving some money like only having three screens because small screens are cheaper cheaper than big screens. Councillor Janice. Denis, like I don't know if I'm lost. Like, didn't we have an amount like in 90,000? Was in like only an estimate or? So we had difference like over the last couple of years, but this one is the new one. One we got last week, and the one was the week before last week. So these are recent number, and we met with Ivan's camera in the council chamber. So these are the most recent number and the real numbers. Thank you. Councillor Sylvie and then Councillor Paul. Thank you. If we have to discuss of the option, I would prefer option two, like to have big screen, because I think like those small screen, we cannot see the faces of the others. We cannot see like the lips moving to better understand. So I do not like it at all. So big screens, I would prefer this option. And as Denis said, that maybe we have to go forward. We would have to vote for it this evening, and especially like we need to bring all the equipment if we ever move. Like so, there would be labor, but yeah, it's to be expected anyway. So I vote for option two. So I don't know how you want to do. That's your preference. Councillor Point, I have a question. Is it for 13 elected officials? 13 or 9, not 13. What's a podium? Like 8,000? So we would be smaller, like we would need a podium. It's a podium that's higher, but it can be lowered also for people with mobility problems. Like 8,000 is expensive because there's a motor in it, so we can put it up or down. It's like the Cadillac. 12,000 in labor. How long do they stay here? There's a lot of wires. There's a lot of wires. So if you look like under like your desk, you see all like and you see like $430 like a travel. So how many times do they come from Moncton to here? I think it would be a job of at least 1 week, 2 weeks for all the complete installations. If they come here 4 or 5 times, 12,000 for a week. For I think it's very expensive. It's not our money, but it's taxpayers. Like $8,000 for a podium. So we need a podium that goes up and down. Is to make it accessible. Of course, more accessible. It's more expensive for accessibility. Any accessible installation, it's always more expensive. I know it's not often we have someone in a wheelchair, but the day we will have it, we need to have it. This we have to plan for it in one sense. It says same as the size door. It's bigger, like for someone who is in will. We need a double doors. There's one. And how many hours will they be working for 12,000? No, I know it's not cheap, like, but with all the other equipment, so they're making up money on the microphones and everything. Yeah. There's 70 hours. We have labor. We also have programming. And there's a lot of programming. So, and there is also some training. So it's not only like to put the install the wires. We have people doing programming, and some people will give also some training. So we could do like also remote translation. So it's through computers. So they have to talk to each other, and people in town have to understand how it works. So we will be trained. There's also an amount dedicated to training. As Jill said, the amount, so not, we have to go tenders for 69,000. We will check. I don't think so. Like 110,000. So we can go to culture. At the end of the day, there's still some equipment here that Ivan is used also to this room. So another company could take more time. So they are the one doing the technology. So if they've been doing it for a long time, so we're comfortable with them, and we're dealing with them also at the arena and the multipurpose center. So we're more comfortable to go forward with them. Yes. Just a quick question. For 13 elected officials, so do we have microphones for the staff as we have this evening? Yes. I was taking for granted. Councillor Peter. So earlier you mentioned it was done for 13 elected officials. So is the system, will it be able to work with reduction if the council has less members the future? Yes, it's only plug and play. So we have some council that for 18 mics, but we can now do the opposite. To we can have some mics and then go lower, but we cannot do the opposite. And also like to answer the question, I worked with them like on the audio with the churches, and I thought it was very expensive, but and I'm surprised of the amount. I thought it would be way more than what the number. I know labor and that is something that could be questioned. So the challenge I have is to be functional by January. So I'm concerned about this because we are at the end of September and the way like they deliver the equipment. If we do not take a decision this evening, I think we'll be stuck like with we'll have to jimmy rig it as long as the equipments are available and they can. It's like when you're buying a new car and you order it and you get it in a year or a year and a half. So it's not all the same, but it's the same phenomenon. And I agree with Councillor Sylvie to to eliminate to have bigger screens and to see like the council members because even like with the new system we will still have the iPads we'll not have all of this but we all have like a mic. So Mr. Chair, if you need like a motion to make the file go forward, well, I have two council members like who would like to comment, so we'll go get back to you. Councillor Patricia and Councillor Emile. Thank you. So is it so we're talking about the 14 councillors. Is that the Shediac and to spend? I know like the town hall, like Pointe du Chêne, don't they have amounts? I know these are separate budgets. Can we get like amounts for some budget for the budget for Scodouk and Pointe du Chêne? So maybe it's a question to ask, but it's a good question maybe to ask internally. We wondered, but and we did not have the budget for this year, but not for them. So what we'll be able to recover, like with the province, we did not get any guarantee so far. There was an indication of this, but we can ask. I mean, it's not a problem, but for now, we will be paying the difference for the four new members. And then in 2023, well, all the services of the municipal administration, that maybe except for public works, municipal operations will be shared with all the regions, with the four LSD that will join us to our family here. And also, we have to adapt like the council chamber, so we did not get any. So you had mentioned like it would cost maybe $100,000, and that will be it. So the furniture, I checked maybe $1,000 per station, so maybe 15 workstations. So they'll will a coat of paint, and we will be close to $100,000. So. Two others, Councillor Emile and then Paul again. It was to make the motion to proceed with the purchasing. Paul, was it another item? So to modify, no, everything's together, like, yes. Equipment plus to modify, like, the room. New furniture, adaptation, everything. Councillor Emile, I would move to proceed with the purchasing 30,000 for to modify the chamber and then 70,000 for the audiovisual equipment. Councillor O'Brien, I move that we go forward, that the administration goes forward with option 2, like with 3 big screens. Moved by Councillor Emile O'Brien to moved by Emile O'Brien to proceed with option number 2, which means 3 big screens. Seconded by Councillor Sylvie Colette-Boudreau. Questions on the motion. Which budget? From the discretionary fund. So how many money do we have in that pot? I think we have close to 200,000. Linda is looking this up. we have close to 285, so minus 100,000. Perfect. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you. At least like it will allow not only like to renew the equipment, then we'll be able like to have hybrid also meetings for the council members that might be absent for we have symptoms, so we will stay home. So it will become the new normals. At least people will be able to attend. Just for the resolution, so was it with HST or without? Oh, yes, with the HST. Introduction to new business, so nothing for this evening. Inquiries by members of the council. Do we have any members of council? We have some things to request. So the order, you press the button. So Councilor Peter, I had two items. So the first one, could have asked it earlier concerning like the downtown development. So we were hoping, I know some work is being done, and I don't know if it's up to date. Yes, my pleasure. So they submitted their permit, their payment for the permit, and they also submitted like some revised plans. So they wanted to make sure like it follows like the national building code, and also the permit should be given these days. So as you saw, like they did some site preparation. So we met with the site with them, and we went through all the details. So you saw like there's already some construction on Victoria Street. It started for all this work. This work can be done like without the building permits to be given. Like they can prepare this up to the foundation, but they cannot like pour any concrete until the permit is given. So they will do it as soon as possible, and we expect it should be done within the next few days. I would be happy. I I will be happy to share the information with you once it's done. Second question is concerning like the storms, like the major storm we had in the last couple of years and the impact on our pumping station, and also like some problems with it. So with the point arrival of Pointe du Chêne, we know Pointe du Chêne it's a major problem with the for the sewer system. So the town of Shediac will become responsible, like so I not with of the no the water it's the Greater Shediac Sewer Commission that's owns it, and they will continue to be responsible for it. So when the water is going to pumping the pumping station because of high tides and the water becomes contaminated, does it become the responsibility of this commission, or will it become the responsibility of the town of Shediac? That is a good question. So as for service commission, so I know they're responsible like for the operation of their system. So essentially, so if there's something happening, they have to take the adequate measures. So the pumping, if the pumping station is underwater, well, we have to wait like for low tide. But I know they had some challenges. They have generators, and the majority of the pumping station do have a generator. So once again, if the generator is underwater, it doesn't work. So I do not have any more information. We could get maybe a report from the commission of all the damages caused by the snowstorms as Dorian we had 2 or 3 years ago. So if we see like every 2 years we have one, it would be great to see like how the commission will manage this in the future, so the town doesn't become responsible. So and they say in the media like that the town is contaminating the water. It's certainly a question we can ask. So I don't know if we could bring it like to this committee. So if they could explain like So the impact it has on on these storms. I know we'll have some more, so the problem will just get worse. Because what you were saying, like there were five pumping stations that were underwater, so it's getting quite serious. So, Councillor Sylvie, what? Peter, absolutely. We can ask the question and ask the director of the commission maybe to present a report, so they're more educated than more informed than myself and Janice. So there's a report that should come out soon. So for the problems like here in the municipality of existing pipes, that they should be improved because we had some kind of a footprint of what we have now and what should be improved and what's coming also what's becoming more of a problem. Like it's not something like that is alarming now, but they're looking at this for now. But we will be we could send an invitation to Joey and to come to maybe have a presentation maybe at the beginning of October. I think it would be a good idea. Councillor Paul, just maybe like thanks for being here this evening. So Saint Joseph Street. So the negotiation is it moving for the challenge we have? So we have a in-camera meeting, and it's not for public. It's something we want to look. We want to look at the options with you. Thank you. And also the study on the traffic on Beaubridge Street. So when will the report be submitted? October 7th. So I had a confirmation from Crandall that will be here on October 7th. So the file for access to water. So we mandated the administration in June to have some kind of a report, to start a report. We have a startup meeting tomorrow morning, like with Inglobe, like to have a proposal, and we will review with them to make sure everything's okay. I will be attending this meeting, and we will be starting on this file. And also the challenge, also like with Inglobe, so they will present for the surface water we had in some parts of the town. So will we have a report later for surface water? Oh, for Sebastian Street, yes. So Sebastian Street, well, they're almost ready, like to submit the final design for approval. So Scott and myself will looking at this in our team, and if everything's good, well, the contractor would be ready to start within the next couple of weeks. As soon as we get the quotes and final design, it has to be approved by the council, and then from there we'll go forward. So in a nutshell, like what is the design? What did they want to do? It's the cheaper option because the other one was way out of whack, like 1 point something million. So I think we were talking about 108,000. So that is the option that we have. So with the price that Englobe saw, it could be even less because the market seemed to have calmed down. The contractors are looking for work. So we'll see like once we get the quote. So the intent was to treat this as extra work on the original contract. Happy to hear this. Once it's we get the confirmation, what is the option, then they can present it to the council. We would like to understand it, that we will do these things and that should be done. So I think in Globe is coming here on the 17th. Chris and Ryan will be here, so I will try maybe to give them this as a deadline to present it to the council. And if it goes forward, well, the contractor will have a month to do the work. And I know, like, without knowing the amount, so where will we take the money for for this? I think it's within the funds that we already like in the contract. I think it was 1.3 million, so did not spend. So just the last one. So the last comment, Main Street. I know you're sending report since it's a public meeting. Are we on track or 1 or 2 weeks? No, I don't think we were not too too behind. It should be it should be done like maybe by this week. Yes, things are going well. It's going really well, considering everything that's happening, like the hurricane and everything that happened, like the supply and demand and all of this. We're maybe like a week behind of the original schedule. And I think the original schedule was the end of October, and right now we're looking at the middle of November. So maybe a couple of weeks behind, maybe max. But the contractor, I think he could. I think within 1 or 2 weeks they'll be able. Like right now, they only have one crew, but they will have like a couple of crews. So we things should start moving. Thank you, Lung. So by the end of November, will will the surface be paved, and also will we have the sidewalk? I think the asphalt, it's a must. We said even like they would come here and it's not ready, we will force it to put it to its expense, and we'll have to remove it and put it back next year because, as Scott said, like we're not plowing like streets without any pave. To answer your question, they should go there, and if nothing changes. And for the sidewalks, is it something for it's part of the contract? So thanks for those 5 items, Councillor Remy. Thank you. Just a question for Denis. Only one. That's good. Maybe for the file, like access to water. We're always talking about Riverside Drive, right? So mandated like an englobe, like to look at Riverside Drive, and they're looking also at other places. So the meeting with englobe. So what will you discuss? Like, will we know? Like, I think there's a meeting for public safety, and then I will be able like to present what will we discuss. But we look at Riverside Drive and for where the wharf is, and we're to look also at the rest of the Scooduk River to see if there were any options that would be good for this. I do not wait like in the spring and still be at the same place. Will it be possible to do it like if they decide to go forward with the excess water, depending also of the work, or it will be part of the capital budget? So we have a little bit more time than our operating budget. I think for timing wise, like at least we'll be able we'll have some capital budget and to see where it goes. So your discussion with MGLO tomorrow morning. So will we have a report? No, we will not have a report. We'll be able to give you the deliverables. So that's where it's at. It's where it's at, right? Yes, perfect. Councillor Patricia, thank you. I think Paul did summarize like the questions. So the only one was at the Omarus Center. Somebody asked a question. They need to. Will they have more parking? I think like where like the pave is. I think that's where the parking is. Like people mentioned like this summer, you were not able to park there, like to put a kayak in the water because the parking was full. Denis, yes, the parking that is there, that's what was forecasted. So the study we did, they might also propose another spot that could free like some parking at the Omaro Center, and maybe a wharf at one wharf at the Omaro Center is not enough. Maybe we should ask a second one, because I said, well, so in front of the Big Lobster, it's not a parking because some cars are there. It's only during construction. They asked me if it was a possibility to add some parking, but we will wait, because I agree. Like the park, Omar's parking was full all during the summer. We had tourists, so If it's access to water, if it's a site that will be used more, yes, we'll need to expand essentially. Maybe to purchase some land, or because we own like the land like from the Big Lobster to Omarus, so we have to go in the other direction. So that's where it's at. We still want to keep some green spaces, and there was another installation that was part of the master plan, but they're not there, but that's in the green spaces, so if I remember well. Thank you very much. 14. 14.1. Yeah. Mr. Deputy Mayor, if you could read it. Thank you. Second reading of bylaw number Z dash 14 dash 44 dash 45Z, the bylaw amending the zoning bylaw net zero. That bylaw Z dash 14 dash 44 dash 45Z, a bylaw amending the Town of Shediac zoning bylaw, be read a second time by its title and its entirety. Moved by Councillor Deputy Mayor Jean-Claude Bertin, seconded by Councillor Germaine Galland. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, that the bylaw Z 1444 for the bylaw amending zoning bylaw net zero, a law amending the Town of Shediac with the power of the Planning Act, the council that the Shediac bylaw Z-14-44 edicted on April 2014 and filed in the Westmoreland County Registry Office as number 37597 on May 23, 2020 is here final interpretation. Like the zero net shall be inserted. Net zero means the peak discharge rate of stormwater runoff of a post-development property is equal to or less than the peak pre-development discharge rate of stormwater runoff for the 2 years, 5 year, 10 year, 25 year, 50 years, and 100-year design storm event as outlined in the design criteria manual. 2. Within section 47, drainage following section shall be repealed and replaced with 47.9. The altering of land levels for buildings or other purposes, with the exception of an accessory building or structure, insofar as they may affect surface drainage, shall require a lot drainage and grading plan, which shall be implemented by the developer. 47.2. With the exception of single unit dwelling, two dwelling, semi-detached dwelling, the lot drainage and grading plan referred in section 47.1 shall provide for adequate stormwater detention storage to achieve, where possible, a zero net solution, which shall be implemented by the developer. 47.3. The requirements in section 47.2 may be waived when, in the opinion of the Director of Municipal Operation, a zero net solution is impossible to achieve. Mr. Deputy Mayor, I move that we adopt the second reading of the bylaw Z 1444 45Z. It's an entire moved by Councillor Jean-Claude Berlin, seconded by Councillor Sylvie Colette-Boudreau. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 2. If you can read. Second reading of bylaw number 66, a bylaw relating to permanently stop up and close a portion of Maple Lane in that bylaw 66, the second reading, a bylaw relating to permanently stop and close up a portion of Maple Lane in Shediac, be read a second time by its title and its entirety. I move. Moved by Councillor Bourg-Chavary, seconded by Councillor Gana. Questions on the motion? Councillor Paul. I'm looking at all the others, like the history context, so there's nothing there. So the firefighters, they were all notified, like for the closure of this lane. So everything, they're okay with this. Thank you very much. All those in favor signifying aye, against nay. Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, a bylaw number 60, a bylaw relating to close a portion of Maple Lane in Shediac. The town makes the following: whereas 10 on P of the Local Governance Acts authorizes municipal council to permanently close roads, streets, and highways and portion thereof, whereas it is deemed in the public interest that a portion of Maple Lane total 45 square meters and shown in Schedule A as parcel 22 A be permanently closed to all forms of traffic. And whereas this bylaw is required to transfer a portion of Maple Lane in order to accommodate the parking associated with the multi-unit family development on the adjacent portion, there be it resolved that the portion of Maple Lane totaling 45 square meters and as shown in the Schedule A as a parcel 22A is permanently closed. This bylaw shall come into force on the date it is passed, signed, and sealed. I move that we adopt the second reading of bylaw 66 by title and title. Move and seconded by Councillor Germain Gallant. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Councillor Lepage, if you could do the third reading of the bylaw 6, bylaw to close part of the Shediac of Maple Street. That the third reading of bylaw 66, a bylaw relating to permanent stop to close a portion of Maple Lane in Shediac, be done by its title. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Bourg-Chavary, seconded by Councillor Germain Gallant. All those in favor signify saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, that the bylaw relating to permanently stop up and close Maple, that we adopt like the third reading by its title of bylaw number 66, moved by Councillor Patricio Bourg-Chavary, seconded by Germain Gallant. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. (14.4) Councillor Janice. First reading of bylaw number Z-14-44-46Z, a bylaw amending the zoning bylaw R2 zone. That the introduction of a bylaw entitled bylaw number Z-14-44-46Z, a bylaw amending the town of Shediac's zoning bylaw, be approved, be adopted, and read a first time by its title. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. First, so by law, like said, 14-44-46, a bylaw amending the zoning bylaw of the town of Shediac. I move that we adopt the first reading of bylaw Z 14-44-46 by its title. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. All those in favor signify saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. (14.5) Councillor Sylvie. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First reading of bylaw number Z-14-44-47Z, a bylaw amending the zoning bylaw R2 zone. That the introduction of a bylaw entitled bylaw Z-14-44-47Z, a bylaw amending the town of Shediac zoning bylaw, be approved and read the first time by its title. I shall move. Moved by Councillor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jean-Claude Bertin. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, that the bylaw said 14, 44, 47 Z, the bylaw amending the zoning bylaw R2 zone of the town of Shediac. I move that we adopt the first reading of bylaw number Z-14-44-47Z by its title. Moved by Councillor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jean-Claude Bertin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Carried. And the last one, Councillor Emile. Thank you. First reading of bylaw number Z 14-44-48Z. A bylaw amending the zoning bylaw R2 zone. That the introduction of a bylaw entitled bylaw number Z 14-44-48Z, a bylaw amending the town of Shediac zoning bylaw, be approved and read a first time by its title. Moved by Councillor Emile O'Brien, seconded by Councillor Sylvie Colette Boudreau. All those questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Motion carried. Bylaw Z 14-44-48Z, a bylaw amending the zoning bylaw R2 zone by the town of Shediac. I move that we accept the first reading of bylaw number Z 14-44-48Z by its title. Moved by Councillor Emile O'Brien, seconded by Councillor Sylvie Colette Boudreau. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Enough for zoning for this evening. We have no motions and resolution for this evening. No appointments to committees. So I only need at 17 a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councillor Janice is moving the adjournment of the meeting. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.